This might sound a little dramatic, but I think March 2nd is one of those days that actually deserves some drama. Like, if you have been walking around lately feeling like something is about to give way, not in a bad way, more like when you press your foot down on ice and you can feel it flex before it cracks, that sensation is real and it has an explanation. Today, on March 2, 2026, Mars moves into Pisces. And I know, Mars in Pisces does not sound like the most electrifying headline. People usually get excited about Mars in Aries or Mars in Scorpio. But the timing of this particular move is what I want to talk about, because it is walking into a sky that is anything but quiet. Tomorrow, March 3rd, a total lunar eclipse lands in Virgo at 12 degrees and 54 minutes, Virgo. Not a minor moon event, a total one where the Earth's shadow swallows the moon completely. And the day before that eclipse, Mars changes signs. That is not coincidence. That is the cosmos doing what the cosmos does best, stacking things on top of each other until the weight of it becomes impossible to ignore. So today is the hinge. Today is the moment right before everything pivots. And if you have been feeling that pressure behind your sternum, that quiet electric hum of anticipation you cannot quite name, this is why. And there is more, because there is always more this year. Mercury went retrograde in Pisces on February 26. So right now, right this minute, we have the Sun in Pisces, Venus finishing her final days in Pisces before she moves into Aries on March 6th. Mercury retrograde in Pisces, and as of today, Mars also in Pisces. That is 4 planetary bodies in one sign at once, and not just any sign, Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac. The sign of dissolution and dreams and what lives beneath the surface of the things we think we understand. 4 planets in the sign that governs what is invisible, what is intuitive, what is not quite finished yet. All while an eclipse is building overnight. Go ahead and leave a like and subscribe if you are already feeling the pull of this energy. And drop feeling this eclipse in the comments below. I want to see who is tuning into what is happening right now. Okay, so let me actually get into what today means, because I think this is one of the more nuanced days we have had in a while, and it deserves a proper breakdown. Let us start with Mars, because that is the fresh energy today. Mars is the planet of drive, action, momentum, desire. It is how you go after things. It is your ambition, your anger, your physical energy, your courage. When Mars is in a fire sign, it moves fast and hard and direct. When it is in an air sign, it moves through ideas and strategy. When Mars lands in a water sign, specifically Pisces, all of that forward movement gets filtered through something entirely different. It gets filtered through feeling. And here is the thing about that. It sounds like it would weaken Mars, right? Like water puts out fire, the motivation dies, you stop moving. But that is not quite what happens. What actually happens is the motivation becomes less about external goals and more about internal ones. Mars in Pisces asks what you are actually fighting for, not what you think you should be doing, not what looks good on paper, not what your 5-year plan says. What do you genuinely feel called toward? Because Pisces does not operate on logic, it operates on resonance. And Mars in this sign pushes your actions to follow your emotional truth instead of your intellectual plan. That can feel deeply uncomfortable if you are someone who has been running on discipline and structure. The energy shifts. You cannot bully your way through your to-do list with the same grit you had a week ago. The grit does not disappear. It just wants to serve something that actually matters to you on a deeper level. And sometimes, when we are forced to slow down and move from feeling rather than force, we discover that half the things we have been driving toward were never really ours to begin with. They were goals we inherited or absorbed or accepted because we thought they were what we were supposed to want. Mars in Pisces strips that pretense away. It makes hollow goals feel hollow, and it makes genuine ones feel urgent in a way that moves you forward without needing a calendar reminder. Practically speaking, what you will notice starting today is a shift in how you engage with problems. You are going to be more inclined to feel your way through situations rather than think your way through them. Intuition becomes a valid strategy, taking action based on a hunch, moving towards something because it feels right, even when you cannot fully justify it. That kind of decision-making gets more reliable now. Not because logic stops mattering, but because your gut is unusually well calibrated during this period. There is so much Piscean energy in the sky right now that sensitivity is genuinely heightened. Pay attention to first impressions. Pay attention to what your body tells you when you walk into a room or get a message from someone. Those signals are real. The shadow side of Mars in Pisces is avoidance, because Pisces is also the sign of retreat, of escape, of the path of least resistance. And Mars there can make inaction feel comfortable. It can make staying underwater feel like wisdom when it is actually just fear. So the practice here is discernment. When you feel the pull to step back, check whether it is intuition asking you to pause and recalibrate, or whether it is anxiety wearing the costume of surrender. Those two feel similar, and the difference matters enormously. Now here is where the tension of today really lives. The total lunar eclipse in Virgo hits on March 3rd, which means we are sitting inside eclipse energy right now as Mars makes its ingress. Eclipse energy does not arrive at the exact moment of the eclipse. It builds in the days before and echoes in the days after. Today is Eclipse Eve, and that means the pressure cooker has been on for a while, and tonight the valve starts to release. Virgo eclipses are not subtle. Virgo is the sign of discernment, of the body, of routines and daily life and the systems we build to keep ourselves functioning. It is also the sign that spots what is wrong, what is imprecise, what needs fixing. A lunar eclipse in Virgo illuminates the gap between the ideal version of your life and what is actually running in the background, and it does that illuminating without much gentleness. It exposes the habits that are quietly undermining you, the health thing you have been ignoring, the work situation that looks fine on paper but is draining you dry, the relationship where you have been doing far more than your share without naming it. Lunar eclipses are full moon energy amplified by a significant factor. The full moon in Virgo is already a reality check. It is already the moment when you hold your routines up to the light and ask honestly whether they are serving you. A total lunar eclipse in Virgo does that same work, but with stakes attached. Things end under eclipse energy. Chapters close. What was not working simply stops working, often in ways that surprise you. A job situation you thought was stable suddenly is not. A relationship that felt like it was coasting reveals that it was not coasting at all. It was drifting. A health pattern you had been managing catches up with you and demands a proper response. This eclipse is also being ruled by Mercury, since Virgo's ruler is Mercury. And Mercury is retrograde right now in Pisces. So the planetary ruler of this eclipse is currently moving backward through the most fog-heavy sign in the zodiac. That combination tells you something important. The revelations that come through this eclipse may not arrive in perfectly formed sentences. They may arrive as feelings, as a sudden inability to ignore something you have been ignoring for months, as a quiet knowing that settles in your gut before your mind has words for it. Mercury retrograde in Pisces is not a good moment to force conclusions, to demand clarity, to try to pin down an answer that is not ready to be pinned down. But it is an excellent moment to receive impressions, to sit with what arises, to trust that the understanding will become clearer by March 20th when Mercury stations direct. Between today, March 2nd, and the days following the eclipse, you may find things ending in your life without your deliberate choice. That is how eclipses often work. The universe removes what you would not remove yourself because you needed the nudge, or the push, or the abrupt door closing. And with Mars moving into Pisces simultaneously, the emotional impact of those endings gets felt more acutely. You will not be able to rush past your feelings during this window. The Pisces stellium is too thick for that. You will be in your feelings. And the invitation is to be there with some grace rather than treating it as a problem to solve. It is worth taking a moment to understand the Virgo-Pisces axis, because that is the energetic current running through everything happening this week. Every sign in astrology exists in relationship to its opposite sign, and Virgo's opposite is Pisces. These two signs are always in conversation with each other, and a lunar eclipse in Virgo means the sun is in Pisces, directly across the sky, creating a tug-of-war that lives in all of us right now. Virgo wants analysis. It wants to understand how things work. It wants a plan, a process, a clear set of steps that leads to a measurable outcome. It notices what is wrong so it can be corrected. It lives in the detail. It cares about the physical, the practical, the functional. Pisces wants surrender. It wants to dissolve into something larger than itself. It lives in feeling and intuition, and the invisible connective tissue between things. It notices what cannot be measured. It cares about meaning more than method. Most of us lean toward one side of this axis or the other. Some people are deeply Virgoan. They have built their sense of safety on competence and order and knowing exactly what is happening at all times. The Piscean energy filling the sky right now is actively unsettling for them. The fog, the ambiguity, the feelings that do not resolve into neat categories. It can feel threatening when you have organized your whole life around the idea that things can and should be figured out. And then on the other side, some people live so deeply in the Piscean realm that they have struggled to bring their visions and feelings into any kind of functional form. The eclipse landing in Virgo is calling them toward the practical, toward accountability, toward the honest assessment of what is actually working in their physical world, their health, their routines. The invitation of this eclipse, supported by the Mars ingress into Pisces today, is integration, not Virgo over Pisces, not Pisces over Virgo, both. What would it look like to act from feeling rather than obligation? To build systems that actually support your spirit rather than just keeping you functioning? To be precise about what you need without losing the softness that makes connection possible? These questions do not have quick answers, but they are the right questions for this week. And here is who is feeling this the most acutely. Virgo. You are at the center of this eclipse, and it is landing directly on your sense of self. Something in your life is being brought to completion, whether you feel ready for that or not. Your health, your routines, your work, one or more of these areas is shifting significantly this week. The invitation for you is to not fight the ending. Whatever the eclipse is clearing out was either already done or it was keeping you from something better. Trust that. Pisces, the full moon is in your opposite sign, which means this. Eclipse is lighting up your partnerships, your one-on-one relationships, the mirror of the other. Something is becoming very clear about what you need from the people closest to you. Whether that is a clarifying conversation or a quiet recognition that a dynamic has run its course, clarity is coming. Gemini and Sagittarius, you are on the mutable cross with Virgo and Pisces, so this eclipse is hitting your chart at angles that bring instability. Not necessarily crisis, but significant change. Plans shift. Situations you thought were settled reveal themselves to be in motion. Ride it. Do not try to nail everything down before the eclipse energy has done its work. Let me talk about Mercury retrograde in Pisces for a minute, because it is relevant to nearly every experience you are going to have this week, and understanding what it is actually doing changes how you work with it. Mercury retrograde started on February 26 and runs all the way to March 20th. It stationed retrograde at 22 degrees of Pisces and is working its way back toward 8 degrees where it will turn direct. During this time, everything Mercury rules, meaning communication, information, short trips, technology, the exchange of ideas, all of it runs differently. Not worse necessarily, but differently. The timing is off. Messages get delayed or misunderstood. Emails that felt clear in your head land in a way you did not intend. Plans change without much warning. The version of reality you thought was established turns out to have had some soft edges you did not notice. In Pisces specifically, Mercury retrograde does something kind of interesting. Pisces is already a sign that struggles with direct, literal communication. Its language is metaphor, imagery, symbol, feeling. Mercury moving backward through Pisces makes it even harder to pin meaning down into words. What you will find is that conversations keep revealing layers you did not catch the first time. Something someone seeing 2 weeks ago suddenly means something different than you thought. An email you read quickly and assumed you understood has a nuance you missed. Not because anyone was being unclear, but because Piscean communication operates below the surface and Mercury retrograde is diving deeper than usual. The practical guidance for this is simple. Do not finalize things you do not have to finalize yet. Wait until after March 20th for any major contract signing, any formal agreement, any conversation you are treating as the last word on a situation. Use this time for the conversations that never got fully resolved, for the creative projects that need more incubation than you initially planned, for reconnecting with ideas or people from your past that have come back into your awareness. Because the other thing Mercury retrograde in Pisces does is bring back what was unfinished. People you have not heard from in a while show up. Projects that went dormant find their way back to your attention. Old feelings surface, not to torture you, but because something in the original experience never got fully metabolized. And with Mars now in Pisces as well, there is an urgency underneath this revisiting. Not the sharp urgency of Mars in Aries, more like the quiet pull of Mars in Pisces. A wordless knowing that you have to deal with this thing now, that the window will not stay open forever. So we are on March 2nd, standing at the edge of a total lunar eclipse with Mars freshly in Pisces joining a stellium of 4 planetary bodies in that sign, Mercury still moving backward, Venus preparing to leave Pisces for Aries in 4 days, and Saturn and Neptune still holding their conjunction in Aries close enough to matter. Here is how the next few weeks are going to feel. This week through the eclipse is the most intense part. Things end, shift, reveal themselves. Emotions run high, information surfaces. You may have conversations or realizations or experiences that feel significant in a way that is hard to articulate. Do not try too hard to articulate them yet. Let them land. Let the eclipse do its work. Then March 6th, Venus moves into Aries. This is a notable tonal shift in the sky because it breaks up the Pisces density somewhat. Venus in Aries wants heat, directness, action, desire stated plainly. It is bold and a little impulsive and very unwilling to wait around hinting at what it wants. After all this watery Piscean introspection, Venus in Aries landing on March 6th is going to feel like someone opening a window in a room that has been closed for too long. There is a sudden uptick in personal confidence, in the courage to say what you want, in romantic energy that does not ask permission before it expresses itself. March 10th brings Jupiter stationing direct in Cancer at 15 degrees. Jupiter has been retrograde since December, and turning direct here is significant. Jupiter in Cancer is about emotional expansion, family, roots, belonging, security. When it goes direct, the themes it has been stirring internally start to find external expression. Opportunities that were stalled begin to move again. The work you have been doing on your emotional foundations starts to show results in your outer life. If you have been going through a period that felt mostly internal, like therapy, healing, quiet growth that was not yet visible, March 10th is when things start to turn outward. And then March 20th, Mercury stations direct at 8 degrees Pisces, and the same day the Sun moves into Aries to kick off the astrological new year. The fog lifts almost overnight. Mental clarity returns. Plans that could not quite take coherent shape during the retrograde suddenly do. The spring equinox and Mercury direct on the same day is a hard reset, a genuine new beginning, and it closes out what has been one of the most internally demanding stretches of the year so far. But right now, today, on March 2nd, we are still in the thick of it. And the invitation is not to rush toward the clarity of March 20th. The invitation is to be here, in all this feeling and fog and dissolution, and the quiet power of Mars moving through Pisces toward something it can sense, but not yet name. The eclipse is tomorrow, the shift is happening. now. And the things that end this week, the situations, the dynamics, the parts of your life that have quietly been asking to change, they end so that what is actually yours can begin. That is the deal with eclipse season. It does not take things from you. It takes things that were never truly yours to keep, or things that were yours for a chapter that is now finished. And the grief of that, if grief comes, is real and worth feeling. Mars in Pisces will make sure you feel it. But so is the space that opens on the other side. Practically speaking, give yourself more margin than usual this week. This is not the time to be operating on maximum output, with no room for the unexpected. Eclipse energy is disruptive even when you like the disruption. Things move at strange speeds. Some days you will feel clear and purposeful, and other days the fog is genuinely thick. Build some flex into how you are approaching the week, so that when the unexpected arrives, and it will, you have somewhere to put it. Body awareness matters enormously right now too. Virgo rules the physical body, and the eclipse landing in Virgo is a direct signal to pay attention to what your physical experience is telling you. If you are exhausted, that is information. If your sleep is changing, that is information. Pisces can make it easy to live entirely in your head and your emotional experience and completely lose track of the physical one. Do not let that happen this week. Ground yourself. Eat real food. Sleep when your body is asking for it. Take walks. Stay connected to the tangible world even as so much of the energy this week is asking you to wade into the intangible. And trust the disruption. I know that is the part everyone hates to hear, but the eclipse landing in Virgo this week is there for a reason. If something is ending, it is because it needed to end. If something is being revealed, it is because you needed to see it. The cosmos is not doing things to you this week. It is doing things for you, even when the distinction is hard to feel in the moment. This week is a rare combination of ruthless honesty and profound emotional permission. The honesty comes from Virgo. The permission to feel the weight of what that honesty reveals comes from Pisces. Both are necessary. Both are available to you right now. There is something significant about living through an eclipse season like this one and recognizing it for what it is rather than just experiencing it as turbulence. You are in the middle of a genuine shift, not just personally, collectively. The Saturn-Neptune conjunction that perfected on February 20th is still within orb, still active, still dissolving the division between what is real and what we have been pretending is real. That work is ongoing. This eclipse is part of it. Mars entering Pisces today is part of it. The whole first quarter of 2026 has been one long invitation into a new relationship with reality, a more honest one, a more feeling one, a more integrated one. Alright, that is what I wanted to share about March 2nd and everything building with this eclipse. Keep an eye on how the next few days land. What surfaces, what shifts, what becomes impossible to look away from anymore. That is the eclipse doing exactly what it is supposed to. If this was useful, leave a like and subscribe, and drop feeling this eclipse in the comments. Take care of yourself this week. It is a significant one. I will catch you in the next video.